Hello, good morning. I am Dr. E. Srinivasa, working as an assistant professor of physics in IDSG Government College, Chikmagalur. In this video, I am going to explain some concepts in nuclear reactions, that is conservation laws, which is a chapter for 3rd BSc physics students studying in 6M for paper 8. Nuclear and particle physics, subject code SSF 611, and this is the video for session number 19. So first we will study what are nuclear reactions. When collimated beam of intense and monochromatic light nuclear particles bombarded upon a target material, the resulting interaction is known as nuclear reaction. That is, two nuclear particles should participate in this reaction. One is bombarding particle, that is incident particle, and another one is target material, that is target nucleus, to result in a nuclear reaction. A nuclear reaction is therefore a process in which one nucleus is converted into another by interaction with another nuclide or photon of certain energy. The first nuclear reaction in the laboratory was conducted by Rutherford in 1939. He bombarded nitrogen with alpha particles from a radioactive source. So Rutherford bombarded nitrogen with alpha particle. That means nitrogen is a target nucleus and alpha particle is a bombarding particle which is emitting from the radioactive source. And the reaction is given as, this is the bombarding particle, that is alpha particle, nothing but helium nucleus represented by 2He4, and this is the target nucleus, that is nitrogen nucleus 7 nitrogen 14, gives rise to oxygen 17 and a hydrogen or proton. The reaction can be represented as 7 nitrogen 14 alpha proton and 8 oxygen 17. Here alpha and proton, alpha particle and proton are called projectile and ejectile. So the bombarding particle is also called projectile and the ejected particle is called ejectile. So alpha particle is bombarding particle or projectile particle and proton is ejected particle, that is ejectile, and 7 nitrogen 14 is called target and 8 oxygen 17 is called product nucleus. So target, projectile, ejectile and the product nucleus. So any reaction can be represented as, this is target nucleus and this is ejectile, here in the example alpha particle, and proton is a ejectile, proton is ejectile particle, alpha is a projectile particle, alpha is a projectile particle and proton is an ejectile particle and oxygen 17 is a product nucleus. So you can observe the animation pictures of certain nuclear reactions. Here one particle is coming, this is called projectile, incident on the target. So there is an outgoing particle, that is called ejectile, and the resulting particle is called a product. In the beginning, see, this is the target and this is the projectile particle and outgoing particle. Projectile particle and outgoing particle, and the resulting nucleus is called product. So this is also an example for nuclear reaction, that is nuclear fission, how nuclear fission takes place. Nuclear fission is also an example for nuclear reaction and gives rise to energy. Here also deuterium and tritium combine to form So heavy nucleus and release of large amount of energy, that is nuclear fusion. So this is another particle. One is this is incoming particle, that is called bombarding particle, is called projectile, and this is the target nucleus, and then this is the product nucleus, and this one is outgoing particle, that is called ejectile. So projectile, target, outgoing particle, and also the product nucleus. Types of nuclear reactions. When high energy beam of nuclear particles is bombarded upon a target material, the following two types of nuclear reactions takes place. One is elastic scattering and the second one is inelastic scattering. We'll study what is elastic scattering and inelastic scattering. So the interaction does not change the incident particle but changes the direction of the particles. That is, incoming and outgoing particles are same. That is, bombarding particle and ejectile are same. This process is called elastic scattering. If the outgoing particles have the same kinetic energy as that of incident particles, then the process is called elastic scattering. Very important. That means in elastic scattering, energy of the outgoing particle, kinetic energy of the outgoing particle is same as the kinetic energy of the incident particle. Then the reaction is called elastic scattering. Suppose if A is a projectile, projectile is represented by small a, and X is the target nucleus is represented by X, then the elastic scattering is represented as A plus X gives rise to X plus A. That means incident and outgoing particles are same. If the incident and outgoing particles are same, then there is no change in the product nucleus also. That is, A plus X gives rise to X plus E. And the particular example of this type of scattering are, here alpha particle is bombarded on the target nucleus, 79 gold, 197 gives rise to gold and the alpha particle itself. Second one is inelastic scattering. If the outgoing particles do not have the same kinetic energy or energy as that of the incident particles, then the process is called inelastic scattering. So you already know that in the inelastic scattering, only momentum is conserved, kinetic energy is not conserved. Therefore, the kinetic energy of the incident particle is not same as the kinetic energy of the outgoing particle. If the target nucleus is left in an excited state and the kinetic energy of the outgoing particle is less, then the scattering is called inelastic scattering. So that means some part of the energy is along with the excited nucleus. Therefore, kinetic energy is not conserved. So this equation is represented by A plus X gives rise to X to the power of star should be right here. This nucleus should be in the excited state. So this X should be represented like this, X star plus A. So make a star here. Or X plus A gives rise to A plus X star. That means the target nucleus is left in excited state. Some amount of energy is along with the target nucleus. So particular example is 3 lithium 7 is bombarded with a proton gives rise to 3 lithium 7 is in excited state and a proton is outgoing particle. The star indicates that the nucleus is in excited state. The excited nucleus gets de-excited by the emission of gamma ray photon. So that is 3 lithium 7 star, that is it is in excited state, comes to the ground state by emitting the gamma photon represented by this equation. Types of nuclear reactions. The nuclear reactions can be classified into two groups, namely compound nuclear reactions and direct nuclear reactions. What are compound nuclear reactions? In these reactions, the projectile is absorbed by the target nucleus, forming a compound nucleus. The projectile is absorbed by the target nucleus, forming a compound nucleus which is left in excited state. The excited state lasts only for a small interval of time and then gets de-excited by the emission of particles or gamma rays. The equation is represented by A plus X. X is the target nucleus and A is the projectile, gives rise to the product nucleus is in excited state. So this target nucleus becomes excited, and again this excited target nucleus forms a product by emitting the gamma rays, that is B. Direct nuclear reactions. There are different types of the direct nuclear reactions. In the direct nuclear reactions, the passage of initial state to the final state takes place only in one step. These reactions are of different types. They are, first one, radiative capture. In this process, the projectile knocks out a particle from the target and gets itself absorbed by the nucleus. The nucleus in general has a considerable excess of energy and decays with the emission of one or more gamma ray photons. In radiative capture, the projectile knocks out a particle from the target and it gets itself absorbed by the nucleus. That means the projectile is absorbed by the nucleus by emitting another particle. The nucleus in general has a considerable excess of energy and decays with the emission of one or more gamma ray photons. Example, this is the proton projectile incident on the target 12 magnesium 26. So gives rise to 13 aluminum 27, which is absorbed. This magnesium absorbs the proton, becomes a new product nucleus is formed, and it is also in excited state and comes to the ground state by emitting the gamma photon. Second one is in disintegration. In this process, the incident particle, projectile, is absorbed by the target nucleus and the ejected particle is different one. The composition of the resultant nucleus is also different from the parent nucleus. An example of this disintegration of beryllium by alpha particle producing neutrons. That is, 2He4 represents alpha particle is a bombarding particle or projectile, and 4 Ber9 is a target nucleus. So this target nucleus absorbs the alpha particle, gives rise to 6 carbon 12 and also by emitting a neutron. This is ejectile, this is product nucleus, this is the target, and this is the projectile. The third one is photodisintegration. In this process, the target nucleus captures a particle from the target nucleus, that is, projectile nucleus, that is the reverse of disintegration process. For example, here gamma photon is absorbed by the target nucleus, gives rise to a product nucleus and a neutron. This requires a photon of energy 2.225 MeV. Next, we will study in detail the conservation laws in nuclear reactions. All the nuclear reactions are governed by certain conservation laws. Some of the physical quantities which are conserved in the nuclear reactions are total energy of the system, total charge, total linear momentum, total angular momentum, parity, number of nucleons, mass number, total spin and isotopic spin. etc. All these quantities are conserved in the nuclear reactions. We will study one by one. First one, conservation of nucleons. That means the total number of nucleons before and after a reaction are the same. Total number of nucleons, that is number of protons and neutrons before and after the reactions are the same. For example, take 2He4 plus 4 beryllium 9 gives rise to 6 carbon 12 plus 0N1, that is neutron. Let us calculate the number of nucleons. That is, it is represented by mass number. Here 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. 12 plus 1 is equal to 13. Also atomic number is also conserved. 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. So 6 plus 0 is equal to 6. The total number of nucleons, that is the mass number, is equal to sum of proton number and neutrons number on LHS. 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. Total number of nucleons are RHS, that is 12 plus 1 is equal to 13. Hence the number of nucleons are conserved in the nuclear reactions. Second one, conservation of charge. That is, charge is represented by total number of protons. The sum of charges on all the particles before and after reaction are the same. That is called conservation of charge. It is also called conservation of atomic number. That is, total charge on the LHS of the reaction must be equal to the total charge on the RHS. Example again, 2He4 plus 4 beryllium 9 gives rise to 6 carbon 12 plus neutron. So LHS, the charge represented by atomic number, that is total number of protons, on LHS is equal to 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. On RHS is equal to 6 plus 0 is equal to 6. That means the conservation of charge takes place in all nuclear reactions. The third one, conservation of linear momentum. That is, total momentum of all the interacting particles before and after reactions are the same. If you assume the target nucleus to be initially at rest, the linear momentum of the bombarding particle must be equal to the total linear momentum of the products. If Px, P capital Y and P small y represents the momentum vectors of the different nuclei taking part in a reaction, then Px is equal to Py plus P capital Y plus P small y. These are the momentum of the products. This is the momentum of the reactant which is at rest. So Px is equal to Py plus P small y. The next one is conservation of angular momentum. The total angular momentum, which is the vector sum of the spin and orbital angular momentum of the reactions, must be equal to the total angular momentum of the products. That is, the total angular momentum is equal to spin plus orbital angular momentum, and it is given by I is equal to S plus L. Note, for nuclei of odd mass number, I is an odd multiple of H cross, that is half integral multiple of H cross. For nuclei of even mass number, I is an even multiple of H cross, that is E1 2 by 2, that is 1, again 2 by 4 2, that is integral multiple of H cross. For E1, for nuclei of even mass number, that is consists of even nuclei 2, 4, 6, etc. This I is an even multiple of H cross, that is integral multiple of H cross. This is half integral, this is integral. For example, a neutron bombards uranium 235 gives rise to zirconium 98 plus tellurium 138 plus neutron. I is half integral. For neutron only odd, so half integral plus this is also odd. 235 is odd, half integral gives rise to 98 is E1, that is integral. 136 is integral. There are two neutrons, 2, 0, N1. So again 2 neutrons means it is E1 integral. So in this reaction, the conservation of angular momentum is also conserved because half integral plus half integral gives rise to integral. Here integral plus integral plus integral. So integral. So LHS is equal to RHS. Hence, so angular momentum is also conserved in the nuclear reactions. The next one, conservation of mass energy. Conservation of mass energy requires that sum of the rest mass energies of all the nuclei taking part in a reaction and their kinetic energies must be equal to sum of the rest mass energies and kinetic energies of the products. Sum of the rest mass energies of all the nuclei taking part in a nuclear reaction, that is reactants, and their kinetic energies must be equal to the sum of the rest mass energies and kinetic energies of the products. That is called conservation of mass energy. So here consider a nuclear reaction. X plus X gives rise to Y plus Y, or A plus X gives rise to Y plus B. Then mx c square, this is the rest mass energy, plus mx small x, this is capital X. So m capital X c square plus Ex plus E small x plus E capital X gives rise to m capital Y c square plus m small y c square plus Ey plus Ey. So sum of the rest mass energies and kinetic energies, these are rest mass energies and these are the kinetic energies. Sum of the rest mass energies of and kinetic energies of the products is equal to sum of the rest mass energies and kinetic energy of the reactants. Conservation of parity. First of all, what is a parity? The wave function of a system of particles or a nucleus describes completely its behavior as a function of space and time. The behavior of the wave function under the reflection of space coordinates through the origin determines the parity of the system. The behavior of the wave function under the reflection of space coordinates through the origin determines the parity of the system. So conservation of parity states that the total parity of the system is the product of intrinsic parities of the target nucleus and the bombarding particle. The net parity before and after the reaction is the same. The net parity before and after the reaction is the same. According to quantum mechanics, every moving particle has a wave associated with it, which is called matter wave. A wave function psi describes the quantum mechanical behavior of wave associated with the moving particle, that is psi is a function of space coordinates, that is psi of x, y, z. Under reflection of space coordinates, the wave function may change sign or may remain unchanged. Under reflection of space coordinates, the wave function may change sign or may remain unchanged. In the case that wave function is unchanged upon reflection of space coordinates, its parity is E1. If the wave function is unchanged, that is remains same upon reflection of space coordinates, its parity is E1. If it changes sign, its parity is odd. If it changes its sign, plus becomes minus, then its parity is odd. So parity of nucleus refers to the behavior of psi as a result of inversion of coordinates. That is, if we replace x by minus x, y by minus y and z by minus z, then the wave function psi is said to possess E1, as I explained here. E1 parity if psi of xyz is equal to psi of xyz, that is there is no change of sign, then the parity is even. And the wave function psi is said to possess odd parity if psi of xyz is equal to minus of psi of xyz. Here sign is changed, plus becomes minus. Then the parity is called odd. During strong and electromagnetic interactions, parity is conserved. During strong and electromagnetic reactions, parity is conserved and total parity does not change. However, in weak interactions, parity is not conserved. This is not conserved. This is the limitation of the conservation of parity. Next one, conservation of spin. In nuclear reactions, the spin character of a closed system cannot change. So that is, the statics after the reaction remains same as that existed before the reaction. That is called conservation of spin. For example, this is the nucleus which having upward, that is spin in this direction. A spinning charge such as the nucleus of hydrogen or carbon-13 generates a magnetic field. The magnetic field generated by a nucleus of spin of plus of, this is called plus of, and is opposite in direction. This is spinning in this direction. The direction is upward, but here it is spinning in opposite direction. This spins in this direction, but this spins in this direction. So here there is a downward direction. The spin of this particle is represented by plus of, and opposite direction the spin is represented by minus of. So opposite direction from that generated by a nucleus of spin, minus of. So the spin of this particle is plus of, the spin of this particle is minus of. If the number of neutrons and the number of protons, if the number of neutrons and the number of protons are both even, then the nucleus has no spin. For example, 6 carbon 12, 8 oxygen 16, sulfur 32, etc. have zero spin. Yeah, when neutron and protons are both even. If the number of neutrons plus the number of protons is odd, for odd number of nuclei, that is 11, 1, 3, 5, like that, then the nucleus has a half integral spin, that is half 3 by 2, 5 by 2, etc. Example 1H1, so that is fluorine 19, so this is phosphor 31, etc. If the number of neutrons and the number of protons are both odd, then the nucleus has an integer spin, that is 1, 2, 3, etc. So this is 1H2 and nitrogen 14, etc. processes the integer spin if the number of neutrons and number of protons are both odd. So odd plus odd gives rise to even. This table represents the number of protons, number of neutrons, spin quantum number, and example. Number of protons is even, number of neutrons is even. So for even, the spin quantum number is 0. So example, you already know that carbon 12, oxygen 16, and this one. So if the number of protons are odd or even, number of neutrons are also even or odd, even, odd, then spin quantum number is of integral multiple of 3 by 2, 5 by 2, etc. Examples are these. If number of protons are odd, number of neutrons are also odd, then spin quantum number is integer. Example, this deuterium and nitrogen 14. The last one, conservation of isotopic spin T. Isotopic spin has nothing to do with angular momentum or intrinsic spin of the particle, but defines the different charge states of a nuclei. So isotopic spin defines the different charge states of nuclei. It is an additional quantum number defined to distinguish the isotopic states of nuclei. Neutrons and protons are known to have nearly the same mass and are bound inside the nuclear potential. Well, these two nuclear particles differ from one another in respect of their charge only. They are therefore considering as two charged states of the same nuclear particle, nucleon. This is described in introducing a new variable which has two values, each representing one of the charged states of the nucleon. So neutron with charge Q is equal to 0 have T is equal to minus half, that is isotopic spin minus half, and proton have positive charge Q is equal to positive as isotopic spin T is equal to plus half. The law of conservation of isotopic spin applicable in the case of strong interaction requires that initial isotopic spin should be equal to final isotopic spin. This is called conservation of isotopic spin T. That is, initial isotopic spin is equal to final isotopic spin. What are the quantities which are not conserved in the nuclear reactions? The most physical characteristics which are not conserved in nuclear reactions are: the first one, magnetic dipole moments, and the second one, the electric quadrupole moments of the reacting nuclei. These moments depend upon the internal distribution of mass, charge and current with the nuclei involved and are not subjected to conservation laws. So these two quantities are not conserved, that is magnetic dipole moment and electric quadrupole moments are not conserved in the nuclear reactions. So these are the concepts I explained in this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you once again.